I don't know if you know this, but the FNAF movie came out like a few weeks ago. And since I've been an avid fan since FNAF 4 came out, watching Markiplier play his silly little games, I knew I needed to watch this to cure the child part of me that has been waiting for this movie for, 8 whole years. I was so hyped for this movie, and I finally got to watch it. After sitting in a chair for, over 100 minutes, I finally finished the movie, stepping out of the theater thinking that this film was the best goddamn piece of media to ever be made. But after sitting down and thinking about it, rather than seeing it as a FNAF fan, I looked at it as, an average moviegoer. And it just wasn't the best. I was blinded with nostalgia, and I bet a lot of you guys were too, but it wasn't even a horror movie. Not to say that the movie was bad, there are moments here and there that I did enjoy, such as the scene with Max. She gets near Freddy and subsequently gets her body chopped in half. When I saw this scene, I was, originally joking around with my friend saying, was that the bite of 87? Only expecting her to get her head to be crushed, like in the games, but no. Her whole body is just chopped in half. If you actually think about it, that is horrifying. That these robots have the bite strength to be able to chop a human being in half, going through skin, muscle, organs, and bones, all in one go. Why do these robots have the bite strength like that? It's like a great white shark, I guess. Anyways, unfortunately, this is the only scene that gained this kind of reaction out of me. The only times that I actually reacted to the movie with fear, if you can even call it that, is when Balloon Boy just randomly spawns in. But like I said before, this isn't really a horror movie. The whole premise of the movie is that Michael Schmidt ends up getting a job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and some weird supernatural shit happens. But the movie just wasn't scary, which is unfortunate because I was ready to see some shit, but there just wasn't anything like that. I can't really fully blame the movie though, since it was PG-13 and, there's restrictions with the movie not being able to get too violent and, only being able to show a bit of blood. I get why the producers decided to go in this route, seeing how most FNAF fans are kids. But come on, fuck them kids. I was ready to see some actual, gory shit. Only thing we got was just that Max scene where she gets bitten in half, which I guess is fine, but I just wish there was more scary stuff. There were also scenes in the movie where I was just like, what's the point of this? One major one is the pillow fort scene with the animatronics Michael, Vanessa, and Michael's sister, Abby. I know it's supposed to show that the animatronics are, possessed by children. I've also seen online that it's their way of gaining Abby's trust so they can stuff her in a suit, but I hated the scene so much. I remember sitting at the theater and just wishing that I was able to skip this scene. This is a FNAF movie, where children are stuffed into suits by this weird old man. There's all this shit and lore going on. But, you're just building a pillow fort. What is happening? I also have a bit of issues with how the plot develops, with the fact that key points such as, actual bodies being stuffed into these suits was just something that Vanessa tells Michael and they move on. I wish that they approached this with a show rather than tell type of mindset, probably having one of the characters note that the animatronics smell, or bits of pieces of hair sticking out of the mouths or something. These animatronics look way too clean for being abandoned for at least a couple of years. I also feel like William Afton should have had a lot more screen time since, he is the reason this whole thing is happening. He killed these kids, but he only had a few minutes of screen time, I think. Even with the little time we have with, the man behind the slaughter, the little time we did have with him, I gotta say, it was fucking amazing. It was so cool. Even with all of these issues that I have with the movie, there are a bunch of plus sides, such as, William Afton. I was a bit surprised to see that he wasn't British like in the games, but, the movie isn't one-to-one to the games, similar to how the books are, but whatever, I digress. I have to give props to the movie for how much work they put into this to make this film with the fans in mind. I do wish that this movie had both fans and, non-fans in mind so it can appeal to everyone, but oh well. Even with the fact that the plot is pretty much all over the place and not really presented well, the work put into making these sets and animatronics themselves is just breathtaking. The whole scene where Spring Bonnie shows up, I was just in awe with how fucking cool he looked. The glow in his eyes being, my favorite part of this. Throughout the whole FNAF game series and, all the animatronics, Spring Bonnie has to be one of the coolest suits out of everyone. And I really do appreciate how in the movie they didn't do any shortcuts and, actually made the suit one-to-one. Visually, this film is just amazing. I still can't get over how good everything looked. You can really tell how much care was put into these suits. Not sure if you guys know this, but Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy are actual suits in real life. Obviously not being spring locked, since how that will turn out. There are actual people in these suits, and they perform and move in a way that really looks robotic. Foxy is an actual, animatronic, seeing how you can't really make him into a suit with the fact that he has parts of his endoskeleton showing. It really is an impressive animatronic, and he was in a lot of scenes in this movie, actually, committing most of the kills, which is surprising, seeing how Freddy is basically the mascot of the pizzeria, but whatever, Foxy is my favorite animatronic out of 5, so this little detail is pretty fun for me. I do have one slight issue with them, though. They aren't scary, specifically the ones with eyebrows, which is basically everyone but Bonnie. In the movie, they do this thing where their eyebrows arch when they're mad or suspicious, and all I can think about is the expressions from Minecraft story mode. I don't know how to describe it. It looks really silly. In the games, I feel as if they're scary because they have this kind of deadpan look to them. There isn't really any emotion behind these faces. But in the movie, they just look really, really goofy. Overall, was this movie good? Depends on what your preferences are, but I like it, even with the cringy bits. Was this movie worth the 8-year wait? That can be a bit debatable, but with how amazing everything looks visually and how well done these animatronics are built and just everything to them, I'd say the wait was worth it. Personally, I'd prefer if the movie had another year or two to actually better develop the writing. It kind of was worth it, I guess. Like I said before, I do wish the writing was done better and that the movie was a bit longer, because you can't shove all of that lore within an hour and 40 minutes. This movie should have at least been 2 hours. It should have also had everyone in mind, like I said before, rather than just FNAF fans. Since, on Rotten Tomatoes, it's so poorly rated because, critics aren't really FNAF fans. They don't really understand the lore. This movie expects you to know the FNAF lore. Obviously, not everyone knows about it. So I wish that they should have the lore with better emphasizing points, such as, this place was a fun little safe haven for kids and grown-ups alike, but something horrible happened with these, missing children. But what do I know? I'm not a movie writer. This movie could have been a lot better, but it's not the worst thing out there. And I did enjoy the movie, so yay. Just want to get this video out. I know it's pretty short compared to my other quote-unquote review videos. And I was originally going to talk about the Our Flag Means Death finale, but I'm getting tired of talking about that show. Anyways, if you like this video, I'd say subscribe and, press that thumbs up button or like or whatever. And comment down below what other movies or shows I should review or something. I don't know. How the hell do I fucking do outros?